we are not in as bad a position as it seems, yet. Since the beginning of the so-called pandemic, we have all been in a state of daily anticipation of the next steps. Steps from those we call leaders, but whose actions are directed against humanity itself. It is obvious that they are acting according to an ancient script, a script described in the biblical apocalypse, the Four Horsemen. They've already successfully unleashed the first horseman, Pestilence, disguised as a virus all over the world simultaneously. Then came the second horseman, war. It is difficult to start a global war at once, so they act gradually, igniting local conflicts and drawing in more and more new coalitions. The Middle East, Eastern Europe, Asia, flashpoints appear on the world map one after another, like links in a single chain. Africa for them is not a battlefield, but a testing ground, a territory for experiments with famine, infertility, climate weapons, and pitting tribes against each other in order to later apply these technologies in the so-called civilized countries. And so, when the world is fully engulfed in local wars, when warring blocs are created, ready to tear each other's throats out, the time will come for the third horseman, famine.
In the modern world, it is even more difficult to arrange a global famine than a war. But the processes have already been launched. The disruption of supply chains, the closure of borders, the destruction of agriculture under the pretext of ecology, the poisoning of soil and water with chemicals, the vaccination of livestock with drugs leading to their extinction, the destruction of crops with climate weapons, the irradiation of fields with 5G towers. But this is not enough. A simple reduction in food will only lead to a rise in prices. To arrange a real famine, you need to deprive people of money so that they cannot buy even expensive food. Therefore, a second process is being launched in parallel, a managed economic crisis, 1,000 times larger in scale than the Great Depression. They are crashing the markets, destroying the capital accumulated in cryptocurrencies and securities. The last to fall will be precious metals and real estate. Small and medium-sized entrepreneurs will be destroyed. Banks will stop issuing loans. The middle class, the main pillar of any society, will be ground into dust. All this will lead to an explosive growth in crime because hungry people are ready to do anything to survive. And then, when the world is on its knees, engulfed in war, famine, and chaos, the governments of all countries, as if on command, will offer a solution.
The solution will look like salvation. You will be offered to move to smart, safe, 15-minute city camps. You will be offered a guaranteed basic income and food made from crickets and insects. People themselves will run to them, begging for salvation. That is why these cities are already being built all over the world. That is why factories for processing insects are already being built. That is why chitin and other components are already being secretly added to our products, so that our bodies gradually get used to the new diet. Our bodies are already being changed at the molecular level. GMOs, palm oil, chemicals, all this does not just harm our health, it changes our code, our DNA. The reduction of life expectancy, chronic fatigue, sleep disturbances, these are the symptoms of this restructuring. The few rich who survive the crisis will head these city camps. They will manage the factories for producing food from insects and ensure order. Most of them are not human. They are hybrids or avatars of those who are behind all this. And so, when the survivors move into these digital concentration camps, when they are completely dependent on the system, the time will come for the fourth horseman, death. By this time, there will be many robot assistants in our daily lives, not just gadgets, but real humanoid robots. Our consciousness will be inextricably linked with artificial intelligence, possibly through chips or biomechanical implants. And here, two scenarios are possible, which are constantly shown to us in the movies.
Scenario 1, the Terminator. Artificial intelligence launches a global weapon and then begins to hunt down the survivors using an army of robots and biometric tracking systems. Scenario 2, more subtle, the zombie apocalypse. Artificial intelligence influences the gadgets and implants in people, turning them into controlled, aggressive zombies. You think this is fantasy? Remember yourself 15 years ago. You all had mobile phones, and the connection worked. So why then, with the beginning of the pandemic, did they start sticking thousands of new 5G towers all over the world? Not for your phones. They were already working. These towers are not for communication. They are a weapon capable of emitting electromagnetic pulses that directly affect your health and your consciousness. Put yourself in a microwave, and you won't last long. 5G towers are microwaves placed on every street. If necessary, they will be turned on at full power and people will simply die within a minute, or even worse, turn into zombies. How to make a zombie out of a person? You need to inject something into them first, under the pretext of healthcare, under the pretext of a pandemic, to introduce nanoparticles into the body that can be activated by an external signal. Laws about zombies have already been passed in some countries. Drills have been conducted. This is not a joke. They are preparing for this seriously.
So what is to be done? Do not expect help, especially from the government. The government has other goals, your destruction. It is foolish to expect help from someone who wants to kill you. Do not expect salvation from messiahs, aliens, or politicians. The only one who can save you is yourself. How to get out of this? Sabotage. Stop obeying your authorities. Treat them as an enemy, because they are your direct enemies, the very ones who forced you into vaccination. They are destroying the economy to make you poor and hungry, because the poor and hungry are easy to control. For a piece of bread, you will be ready to do anything. Get vaccinated, get chipped, and kill each other. This is their master plan, and it is being implemented right now in all countries. The methods may differ, but the goal is the same. You shouldn't panic about robots right now. We are not at that stage yet. Prepare for an economic crisis and unemployment. Create financial cushions. Be ready for a repeat pandemic. They will turn it on as soon as they introduce digital money to get a lever for forced vaccination. Do not believe a single word that comes from your authorities. Any of their decisions is aimed at worsening your life. What I have described here is a very real-world scenario, and all current events speak to this. You should not deceive yourself and entertain false hopes that this will pass you by. It has already touched or will touch everyone. Your most terrible enemy today is your president and your government in any country. Think for yourself. Do not let the official media wash your brain. Make your own conclusions. Because in this war, the battle is for your mind.